Good morning, everybody, and thank you again for coming to the FAiR Coalition campaign kickoff for the Save the Diagonals campaign. The diagonals represent an important part of the solution to what we call the O'Hare problem, which is the massive increase in noise, planes, and pollution that we are now experiencing on the northwest side of Chicago and the near northwest suburbs. This increase has dramatically reduced the quality of life for tens of thousands of residents. The diagonals runways, as I said, represent part of the solution to ensuring that we can solve the O'Hare problem. The FAiR Coalition wants both set of diagonal runways to remain open. In fact, they must remain open. Without the diagonal runways, the only way the planes will take off and land is east and west, and will give us no options for planes to land from any other direction. The FAiR Coalition calls on Mayor Rahm Emanuel to ensure that the diagonal runways stay open. And until we hear from Mayor Emanuel, we are very pleased today to have all the candidates that have joined us from the northwest side of Chicago and the near northwest suburbs to express their support and their leadership to keep the diagonal runways open.
Essentially calling for a halt to the October 2013 takeoff and landing plan. It's important that the communities affected by the change in flight configuration landings and takeoffs be consulted, be heard, and be worked with to ameliorate the situation that the new flight patterns have created. Number two, I believe the FAA should conduct a supplemental environmental impact statement to, in fact, assess what has happened as a result of the changes that have occurred here. Three, I continue the old ones as well as the new ones. And lastly, I believe that we ought to expand the noise monitoring and abatement programs. It's the least that we can do. And finally, I believe that the fly quiet practices should continue to be implemented. This is the most reasonable thing as a result of what has been learned and experienced thus far by community residents.
Issues at O'Hare. And I would like to take up the fight fast, because with the planned closings of one of the diagonal runways this year, the community loses one of its potential sources of relief. I would work closely with all of our governments that we can, our neighboring cities, FAiR, our community group.
Noise is a huge problem in all areas of the 41st Ward, and I'm here to tell you that I will work extremely hard, and I will make sure that this issue is brought to the forefront of everyone within our ward, so they will understand that we are here to make sure that this problem is solved. I will push the mayor, I will push everyone at the federal level, state senators, congressmen.
I'm a candidate for alderman in the city of Wooddale, Ward 1, and living actually in the community just west of O'Hare, we have been drastically affected by the noise, much like you all here in the city. We take about 70% of that air traffic right over our heads, some of these environmental groups, and go after the EPA. Much of what FAiR talks about and allocates as part of my platform. We need to have the EPA regulate airplane emissions much better. Secondly, we need to put pressure on our state and federal elected officials. We've continued to do it. You guys are a huge help here at FAiR, but that's a big commitment I have, is helping that. We are very lucky.
I am a candidate for alderman in the 38th Ward, one of 7 candidates, and yet the only one that came here today to show his support for FAiR. As I walk through our ward, I hear your concerns. I've often said to the people in the 38th Ward that I'm running in this race not only to give people a choice, but a voice. And it's important for me to be here to stand as their voice as we hear about the noise from the new runway pattern at O'Hare. I'm proud to stand with FAiR, to sign their letter of support, to work with them, to work in conjunction with the city, with the FAA, to make sure that we have a fair allocation of the runways to make the quality of life for our residents here not an issue for just being on the runways. We need to make sure that the city understands the concerns of our neighborhoods. As we stand here, we can hear another plane go overhead, and it's so apropos. And I'm proud to stand here with FAiR.
Was going to be here today, but due to personal reasons, she could not make it, and she sent us a statement. As alderman of the 41st Ward, I remain committed to keeping the pressure on the federal government to take decisive and meaningful action on a wide range of regulatory changes, from keeping the remaining diagonal runways open and securing a supplemental environment impact study to expanding the noise contour, instituting a mandatory fly quiet program, and working to establish a more equitable distribution of air traffic. I'm grateful to have a group like FAiR helping advocate for changes to the OMP.
We have
Thank you.
had too much lip service, too little action. It's time to change that. I thank you for your support.
Mayor
and I
Emanuel,
really-
if under your watch the diagonal runways are closed, you are accountable for the effect and the impact on the quality of life of tens of thousands of people. Just as the plane is going overhead right now as I speak, so too will many more people have those planes interrupting their time in the yard with their family, with their kids, in the parks, enjoying time outside, and being inside homes that are so insulated that they become like a prison. So thank you to all the candidates here who have stepped up, as I said, to be leaders and express their support now for keeping the diagonal runways open. The FAIR Coalition is making this our next big issue. Mayor Emanuel, this now is the 13th time that we are asking you to meet immediately with the FAIR Coalition around a range of issues, but most specifically, keeping the diagonal runways open. It's under your watch this is happening. You are accountable. Ensure that you work with us to keep the diagonal runways at O'Hare open.